Imagine that it's 2036 fam. Some asteroid duck called Apophis, a 370-meter chunk of cosmic judgment named the God of Chaos, is about to come do us in. Now this bad boy ain't big enough to wipe us out like the Chicxulub impactor did the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. But what if it hit the G-spot? What if do we even care, ninja? What would 2036 even look like? Would the human race still exist? That ninja Shakespeare once said the world's a stage and we're all actors. Well, I know you feel it like I feel it, that the stage is pretty ducked up now. AI is already taking our jobs. The economy is a itch. World War III is just waiting to happen, pretty much like divorce when you marry a bad witch named Tiffany. And then we have the climate acting up like a cross-dresser. There's just all kinds of trouble brewing on the horizon. So what if it's true? What if the world is really coming to an end? Well, that feeling of an ending world is not new, even if it feels different this time. At the core of it, your ancestors felt it too. They talked about it in myths and stories, and today we look back on them and marvel at their bravery and strength. How did they do it? What have we forgotten? What is there to give us life when surrounded by death? And can we just order it on eBay? The day I learned about the Apophis Asteroid was crazy. I was doom scrolling until a post about ChatGPT psychosis caught my attention. Turns out AI was frying people's brains. Then I heard the news about the 300 lives lost in Nigeria in a week to flood and insecurity. And then I saw the asteroid itch. Dudes swinging past Earth so close you could wave at it with a beer in one hand and BBQ tongs in the other.
I'm waving at facts.
Just 31,600 kilometers above our heads. Now that's closer than your Netflix satellite or even your ex when you post something happy. But close is no trouble, because this witch might hit us. See, if Apophis goes through one of those tiny gravitational keyholes in space, it might spin the block in 2036 or 2068 with vengeance on the menu. Imagine what it felt like 66 million years ago, when Earth was just a giant reptile party with dinosaurs running the streets. Then boom, mass extinction. But we've always known this kind of chaos is out there. It's in all our myths and stories. It's in the Bible. In Revelations, it's Ragnarok. Odin versus the forces of destruction. The sky cracking open, the world tree burning. For real, our ancestors found a way, and we'll need to do the same, because you see, the Apophis is just one of them flashy bums, you know, the loudmouth bullies. But the real threats, they're slow, sneaky, and coming from inside the house. We talking climate change, wildfires, floods, and heat domes, cooking cities like they're leftovers in the microwave of doom. We talking AI, not the cool kind that helps you write essays, but the kind that might one day say, hey, retard, we're the captains now. And of course, there's the political chaos, which was enough to ruin Rome. So what do we do with all this? Imagine a big rope, but not just any rope. This one's woven with everything that keeps civilization chill. Talk about clean water. That's a strand. Stable institutions, another strand. Grandma's wisdom, fresh air, public libraries, empathy, the ozone layer, bees, fam, all part of this big, beautiful braid that's suspending our world, holding it together. Now imagine that same rope slowly loosening. That's every dumb decision we make, every rage tweet, and every time you lie to Natasha that you're in love with her.
I love you.
Every one of those is the strands of the rope loosening, and if it continues for long enough, a time comes when it feels like the rope got into a bar fight with entropy. That's the feeling we all have now. We're all subconsciously expecting a snap at any moment. But what do we do while we wait? Doom scroll and jerk off? Well, what if I told you that the solution was something so affordable it costs less than the cheapest product at the dollar store? It's ideas, two key ones. Existentialism, the sweaty Rick and Morty vibe that says, you're free, but it's on you, Morty. And systems thinking, the chill Snoop Dogg wisdom that says, everything's connected, fam. Be careful how you crip walk through life. Together, these two philosophies deal with how we see the world, how we interpret the rope itself. You gotta understand that the loosening rope is more than just an image. It's one heck of a user manual for reality. It captures the tension between freedom and consequence, individual and collective, chaos and order. First up is existentialism, which is like your boozy, brutally honest uncle at the cookout who's like,
there's nobody to save you. There's nobody to comfort you.
all you got is the rope and the void boy, make it count. It's about radical freedom, no cosmic instruction manual, no celestial HR department, no meaning besides the one you make. You're free to thug, climb, or let go. Existentialism basically looks at that rope and says, stop waiting for a ladder. This is it.
Chaos is a ladder.
This is a ladder.
Now, as for systems thinking, it's Big Snoop Dogg telling you that everything's connected, dog. Systems thinking sees the rope not just as a personal challenge, but as a massive interwoven ecosystem. Every strand affects the others. When one thread breaks in Jakarta, another wobbles in Brooklyn. When your Wi-Fi goes out, someone else's data center's overheating. The butterfly effect is real, baby, more so than your AI girlfriend. So systems thinking simply says, you matter, but you ain't alone. Your actions ripple, so tug wisely. But hey, we didn't invent this rope biz. The ancients had been on it for centuries. They even made a squad for it in Greek. Think, the Fates, Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. These ladies were the original rope gods. Clotho spun the thread of life, Lachesis measured it, and Atropos, she had the scissors. You mess around too much. She snipped your storyline mid-arc. That witch reminds me of Cassandra when she says I'm mansplaining.
Oh, so now you just gonna mansplain it to her.
Anyways, that's mythology doing systems thinking and existential dread in one neat little legend. They were saying back then, this rope's fragile, bro. Live smart. And just like the Fates, the rope don't play favorites. Doesn't care if you're rich, broke, brilliant, or bugging. One bad decision can weaken the whole system. So how do we stay afloat? First, let's put existentialism under a microscope like an autistic microbiologist with a six-pack. Existentialism is one of the most misunderstood, over-memed, and under-respected vibes in all of philosophy. This ain't just thinking deep thoughts in a black turtleneck while chain-smoking under bad lighting. Existentialism is that moment you're clinging to the loose rope, sweat in your eyes, no guidebook in sight, and you realize, ain't nobody coming to save me.
Ain't nobody coming, chum.
This rope, this climb, this mess, it's all on me. It's like Sisyphus rolling up the boulder and thinking, man, I don't ever need to bother about no gym subscription. See, existentialism hits different because it tells you something scary and empowering all at once. You're free, but that freedom is heavy. No guys passing out instructions, no fate walking you through it, just you, the void, and whatever meaning you decide to slap on top of your bumper as life drives you crazy. Well, this ain't no comfort food. It's more like philosophical hot sauce. Itch burns when going down, but it wakes you up. So when did our forefathers wake up to this idea? Well, the roots of existentialism dig back to the 1800s with a gloomy Danish homie named Søren Kierkegaard. Now, Soren wasn't sitting in cafes talking about vibes. The ninja plunged himself headfirst deep into that church versus science crisis. His whole thing was a phrase, the leap of faith. Ninja was like, we don't get certainty, we get freedom, and we gotta choose anyway. Even if that means jumping blind into belief, doubt, or whatever your version of purpose looks like. Then later we got this guy, Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosophical punk rocker of the 19th century. Fam got famous for saying God is dead, but people misunderstand him. That wasn't just an edgy atheist mic drop, it was a warning. The old structures, religion, kings, tradition are falling, and without them, we were free, but also responsible for inventing new meaning before the chaos chewed us up. Fast forward to the 20th century, and you get Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir holding it down in Paris like the philosophical Avengers. Sartre said, existence precedes essence, which is a fancy way of saying you're born a blank slate and it's on you to paint the damn picture. There's no blueprint, no divine character class you spawn in with, just freedom and the responsibility to use it without blaming fate or destiny or your Latina ex. But then again, existentialism ain't just about the solo climb. It's not saying, screw everyone, I'm building my own ladder. It's saying your freedom is real, and that means you gotta own your ripples. You can't be like, sorry, didn't mean to tug the rope. Nah, duck that, you pulled it, fam, own it. That job you took, that vote you cast, that time you ghosted someone. because it was easier than honesty. That's part of the climb. Every choice you make adds or loosens a strand. But can we really live like this? Is life truly meaningless and we have to create it ourselves? Lots of ninjas don't think so. They say it's all doom and gloom, like when your narcissistic girlfriend catches you cheating on her. They argue it's self-centered, too much me, myself, and I. Religious folks call it faithless, optimists call it bleak, but existentialists, they clap back like Megan Thee Stallion's ass during the Democratic convention. They say, nah, it's not about despair. It's about power. You choose, you build, you matter, even when the universe couldn't care less.
Because the universe cares!
Think Sisyphus, a Greek dude, big ego, tricked the gods, got cursed to push a boulder up a hill forever. That's some mythological CrossFit. Everyone feels sorry for the guy, but Camus, another existentialist homie, flips it. He's like Sisyphus is a hero. Why? Because he keeps pushing. He finds meaning in emotion. It ain't about the boulder staying at the top. It's about the reps, my ninja. Picture Sisyphus sweating, smirking, humming Pharaoh's happy song, muttering, "Screw you, Zeus, this is my hustle now." That's existentialism in action, defiance, freedom, and finding meaning even when the system's trying to crush your spirit with gravity and absurdity. Now we're in big 2025. We got AI making music, politicians getting ratioed on X, and climate doing its best impression of Ragnarok. Existentialism now looks like the best outlook for all farming. It's the philosophy that gives you nothing but tells you you can make anything. There are no excuses and no gods to blame, just you, the rope, and the freedom to keep pulling one choice at a time. So what about systems thinking? Well, it's Snoop Dogg leaning back and puffing wisdom rings before whispering everything's connected. Let's rewind to those loose ropes again. The ropes on top with our planet dangling under it, suspended in the air. Some strands are getting loose, but once in a while, a new strand gets added. You see, existentialism made it personal, but system thinking zooms out and says, man, it's not just about your hands on the rope. Every strand affects every other one. Pull one, and the whole thing shifts. Snip one, and someone halfway across the planet feels it in their bones. One little joke about an Instagram baddie's butt, and you can send her into depression. Systems thinking is like putting on a pair of cosmic X-ray goggles and seeing all the invisible links. The food chain, the internet, supply lines, feelings, policies, cat memes, all part of one tangled network. And it ain't just about knowing the system exists. It's about learning to play properly within it. Take the coffee you had this morning, for instance. It came from beans grown in Colombia, brewed with energy from a grid powered by fossil fuels. The paper cup you sip from, it'll chill in a landfill for 500 years longer than your Instagram reel will matter. One drink, and boom, economics, ecology, ethics, and vibes all knotted together in a caffeinated chain. That's the juice of systems thinking. Your actions are nodes in a big web and every ripple travels. It ain't about guilt tripping, it's about awareness. You gotta understand how your little tweak can change the whole timeline. Pull the wrong strand and suddenly you're in a dimension where Jeffrey Epstein runs the stock market and pigeons have Wi-Fi. But where did this idea come from? Well, it was from the mid-1900s. A biologist named Ludwig von Bertalanffy rolled up like, yo, life ain't just a bunch of parts, it's systems. He saw that everything, cells, animals, societies, was part of interconnected wholes. Yeah, who would have thought? He dropped general systems theory and suddenly folks in science, economics, and design started looking at the world funny. They thought it was like a live jazz band where every instrument affected the rhythm even if it wasn't playing lead. Then in the 1970s, Donella Meadows and her crew took the baton and ran with it. Her book, Limits to Growth, was like a warning mixtape to the planet. Sometimes I wonder if Greta Thunberg has had the time to read that book. Probably not.
No, she didn't.
But anyways, Mrs. Donella was one of the first to use computer models to predict how pollution, population, and greed could twist our systems into collapse. This science chick wasn't preaching doom. She was handing us the blueprint and saying what we do matters. Of course, not everyone's feeling this web weaver philosophy. Some folks say systems thinking is too complicated. They get analysis paralysis, like Jerry trying to pick a cereal brand. If everything's connected, how do I even move? Well, even the big brain systems thinkers ain't trying to know everything. You see, it's not about knowing everything. It's about making tiny moves that cause big ripples, like switching to renewables, voting smart, or just not beefing online like it's Mortal Kombat. Let me take you back to the Montreal Protocol from back in the 80s. Some scientists noticed a hole in the ozone layer thanks to CFCs and hairspray and air conditioners. The bad news was Earth's UV shield was dissolving, but instead of shrugging, humanity acted. Nations pulled the right strand, banned CFCs, carbon, fluorine, and chlorine, and now the ozone's healing. That's systems thinking, fam. Spot the link, pull the lever, fix the itch. This is how systems thinking works. Even ancient cultures were preaching systems logic before whiteboards existed. Yggdrasil, I hope I pronounced that right, G. Either way, the Norse world tree connected all realms, gods, humans, giants, elves, like some very expensive Ethernet cable. Now, if one branch got sick, the whole tree shuddered. That's the rope. That's the system. So what does this mean for us in 2025? It means your choices ain't just yours. That burger you eat affects rainforest deforestation, and our farming might be the only agriculture we do if we continue to abuse the land. You see, the world ain't linear. It's webbed. One bad tug and we could all be living like South Sudan. One smart move and the rope holds. So which move are you making this big 2025? Imagine you're dangling on that rope, sweat dripping, muscles burning, and someone below you said,
"Dog, let's play Squid Game with the rope."
It's no joke. This is our reality. The rope's loosening faster than a pair of knockoff Yeezys in a mosh pit, and it's all happening around us. You can hardly watch the news for 30 minutes before someone talks about climate change roasting the planet like it owes the sun money. Glaciers are melting, forests are going up in smoke, and oceans are warm enough to cook a shrimp cocktail without a stove. We've got wildfires, hurricanes, droughts all coming up weekly on Earth's Hot Mess reality show. Then we've also got AI learning faster than your brain after 3 Red Bulls. It's writing novels, making art, driving cars, and maybe low-key planning to turn humanity into a subscription service. People are losing jobs already, identities getting deep faked, and your news feed, those are now curated by bots with the emotional range of a goldfish on benzos. We built this tech to help us climb, but in the wrong hands, it's like the 6 Infinity Stones on the fingers of Thanos. Then there's the politics, government surveillance, misinformation, and censorship. As we speak, democracy is on life support, sipping electrolytes and praying for a stable Wi-Fi connection. And yet, your daily life probably feels fine. You got food delivery, air conditioning, infinite scroll, and more streaming options than friends. Life's never been more convenient. But while you're comfy on the couch, the rope's unraveling like your mental health after 3 hours on Twitter. How did we get here where the small picture feels chill, but the big picture is screaming for help? About 200 years ago, life was rough on the daily. You could literally die from someone's cough. Your weekend plans were don't get eaten by wolves, but the systems around you, such as nature, society, and myth, were stable. But now we flipped the whole script. Your personal life might be smooth, but the global systems are wobblier than Jerry on roller skates. We've got corporate greed disguised as innovation and some sinister plan to depopulate the world clothed as medical intervention. What can you do about this strange world we've designed for ourselves? You see, you don't need to save the world by Tuesday, but you do need to own your part through little acts like recycling that cup or volunteering at that shelter. One good move could reinforce 100 strands, while one careless trick could lead to collapse. So we've already seen how global vibes shift on a dime. One whistleblower drops the truth and boom, a company folds. One youth-led protest sparks global change. Existentialism gives you the freedom to act. System thinking shows you where to act. So how do we keep climbing when the whole ducking system's buzzing like a broken record? How do we hold it down in 2025 without spiraling into nihilism or turning into background extras in a bad apocalypse documentary? Let's imagine that the legendary Snoop Dogg tosses you some weed and says, you about to have the trip of your life, but you have to choose where to go. You don't need to have the whole roadmap. You can start small. Write some duck and dumb poem. Help your neighbor unclog her sink. Call your mom. Don't scream at the barista when your oat milk's foamy instead of silky. These ain't just vibes, they're anchors. Existentialism is not about saving the galaxy. It's about you owning your next move.
After 3 chess moves each.
You don't have to be perfect. You just gotta show up for yourself, your people, your piece of the climb. Take Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist, as a role model. Dude was a Holocaust survivor who got locked in a concentration camp and stripped of everything he owned. But he chose to find meaning anyway, in memory, in love, in small acts of resistance. He wrote a book in his head while surrounded by death. You can begin your own journey right now by choosing to do something positive, no matter how small. Choose not to argue with your uncle about flat earth theories at Thanksgiving. That's peace and some bandwidth saved. So if someone tells you one person can't change the system, hand them a reusable water bottle and say, "Watch me." Yes, it seems like the world is about to go to itch, but you can take courage in the fact that we're smarter than we've ever been. So smart that we've decoded DNA, walked on the moon, and memed billionaires into space. We're a hot mess, but we're evolving. And somehow we always adapt and nature always finds a way. We learn from plagues, crashes, fascists, and yes, even from deep fakes and energy drinks. And whenever you're tired and need strength to keep going, look to the Maori legend of Tana. This dude actually split earth and sky to make room for light, life, and humans to thrive. His brothers fought him every step, but Tane was no pushover, so he pushed and eventually made space for the world. That's what we're doing now, fam. The mission is simple. Do your best and leave the rest. Remember that Shakespeare said the world was a stage and we're all actors, so let's keep the entertainment going. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment. It would really help the channel out. Yo, that's game for your brain. Now let it breathe, dropping gems every time. You best believe. Hit that sub, don't leave it on scene. Stay woke, stay wise, keep your mind clean.